Hello, happy Tuesday. Welcome back. Thank you for being here. I am loving the questions you are sending in. So, as always, keep them coming. You post them in the comments, and they are the reason that we make these live videos for you. So, thank you for watching and being here and continuing to ask questions. And they also create blogs for us. So, there's no amount of information we can't give you. If you have a question, we want to answer it. So I get this question a lot. What kind of mat should I buy when I'm doing my mat Pilates? And the truth is that, thank you, Gaia, that it is actually important what mat you buy because there are planks and rolling exercises, and both of them, uh, depending on the mat, it makes it really tricky. If your mat is let me show you this. So one yoga mat is too thin. It's too thin. This is like a couple millimeters. You probably can't see from that far away, but you can know it on the yoga mat. It's too thin. So if I were to roll on this right now, because of the floor that I have, it's going to be really awful and uncomfortable. And so then every time there's a rolling exercise, I'm going to brace myself for how it's going to feel, which means I'm not focusing on connecting to the right muscles. Okay. So then you're like, okay, well, you could put two down. Okay. But then you have to, every time you go to Pilates class, bring two mats. And this is still barely enough. And hi, it's barely enough. And these are the two anxious ones. And it's also complicated because you have to have two mats, right? So we're gonna let those go away. Thank you. So two yoga mats, not great because of the complication of having to have two. And by the way, these mats were not cheap to be a non-sticky mat. So let me get these out of the way. Ugh. So I created a mat that is 10 millimeters. This is ideal for a Pilates mat that you're going to take to a class or travel with. And what all 10 millimeter mats are not created equal because a lot of them, those like Durex ones and things like that, they get a little squishy. So when you put your hand on a plank, if it's too squishy, the heel of the hand goes in and then you're not connected to your shoulders. And so then you're like, well, hate side bend, hate push-ups. And again, if you're not connected to your back because the mat is too squishy, then you're not going to be able to connect to your back muscles. And then at the end of your practice, when you finish those push-ups, you're like, oh, this hurts my wrist. And so again, you disconnect from your mind-body connection staying in your practice. So the mat does matter because you will actually be thinking about your mat and not what your body should be doing. So you can get this mat on onlinepilatesclasses.com. I think we've got like 10 left. Or just make sure when you go to test a mat, this one was really important to me. My hand, I can do a plank on it and it doesn't squish, right? So that's why this one is really, really good. So you want to make sure you have a firm 10 millimeter mat. Now let's roll that up and show you what I use at home, which is the Contrology mat by Balanced Body. So it folds up. I can slide it behind a couch or under a bed. Then you have moon boxes. They're called moon boxes because they orbit the mat, by the way. So you can move them around depending on your height and what you're doing. And then they have handles. So what's really awesome about this mat, particularly, not all, oh, and it has a strap. Oh, let me talk to you about this. Okay, so in an ideal world, this is the mat you have. If you don't have that, then a firm 10 millimeter mat for traveling to classes is really, really awesome. But not all mats like this are created equal. Again, if they're too squishy, which a lot of them are, then when you go to do your side plank, right? If you do your side plank, if the mat's too squishy, your fingers are going to come up. You want to have your fingers able to push down and not your wrist not to fall into it. So you don't want it too squishy. But if it's not soft, then when you go to roll, right, it doesn't work. I used to have a mat similar to this, and it was so squishy, I had to get off of it to do my push-ups and my side bend. But when I did my rolling like a ball, I kind of melted into it, so I again lost the connection. So the Contrology mat I love because of its firmness, but it's not so firm that I can't roll on it. It really keeps me super honest in my practice. The strap is key. So how many of you like hate a roll up because your feet come off all the time? Well, the strap isn't just for beginners. The more advanced you get, the better you're going to use it. So when you're new, it's just helping you keep your legs down. The more advanced you get, that roll on your roll up, the strap will get loose if you go too far, like that. So it's loose. So it's just telling me when I can stop, and then I'm able to see each time if I can get a little bit more, a little further forward with feedback from the strap. So that makes it really nice. These handles for those overhead exercises, a lot of times people can do overhead exercises, but because their arms are down here on a regular mat, they can't because they don't have the up reach that they need, which we talked about in another video. So by having these handles here, I can actually stand in my upper back, and that's going to allow me to get my hips and legs overhead. So the beautiful news is we have a discount link for this in our notes below. In fact, on all the equipment that we use, we have a link for you. So if there's ever a piece of equipment you have a question on, you're wondering what you should do, check out our show notes for the ones that we like. This one, again, is a Contrology mat. It just came out like in February. So, but I cannot stand by it enough. It's so good. So get yourself this. Yes, a mat matters. It really does, which one you buy. So pay attention, because your spine and your wrists, they will prefer something that's a little bit better for them than for like what you might just pick up at a regular store. Thank you for that question, the person who sent it in. I really love nerding out about this. If you want to nerd out more with me, put it in the comments below, or join us at onlinepilatesclasses.com, where we do life better.